Hello and welcome back. I want to talk about some of the Batman movies and games. Uh, I'm going to go over a couple of them, a few of them. So let's start with, we'll start with, the Batman Arkham series of games. I mentioned in another video that I played all the way through pretty much all of those games. And they were great. They had great stories to them. All kinds of. The gameplay was great. The stories were great. They did some interesting stuff with the Joker, and I did really enjoy those games. Now, as far as while we're speaking of the Joker, I know there's that new Joker movie. I I do not know what to say about that yet. I've seen trailers, and I just don't know what my thoughts on that are. It's it's different, and I don't know what to say about it. Now, if I want to talk about some of my favorite versions of the Joker, that's probably from Batman the Animated Series, and also the games. But if Batman the Animated Series was really good. I really liked that cartoon, and I mean, I also like the Brave and the Bold cartoon because it had a lot of guest characters, and it does have that one musical number by the Joker, which is pretty good. I think it was called "Where's the Fun in That" or something. Uh, you can find a music video on YouTube; it's out there somewhere. And overall, I mean, Batman Brave and the Bold was pretty good to it. It was more of a, for the most part, a more lighthearted Batman series, excluding the episode where Joker becomes Emperor Joker. And, well, if you've ever seen the comic book for Emperor Joker, yeah, that gets dark. But Batman, uh, I've been kind of interested in what on this other Batman series. I haven't personally got to read the comic books, but there's a Batman series that's been out for a little while now called The Batman Who Laughs, or something to that effect. The main villain, obviously, being the Batman Who Laughs. And it is, from what I've seen of it, even though I haven't read the comic books myself, I have seen other people talk about them, and it does look good. It's a very creepy alternate Batman who's out to get the main Batman and everybody else. So that's an interesting little direction they took that. It's like a Jokerized Batman. He's not just an evil Batman, but a Jokerized Batman. Kind of like what almost happened in Batman Arkham Knight, where Batman almost became a Jokerized Batman. I will say the scene in Batman Arkham Knight where he plays the Joker was pretty crazy when you get the Joker mobile. But Joker mobile, for as cool as it is never going to be as cool as the actual Batmobile. And probably my favorite Batmobile is, well, it's the classic one from way back in the day before. That's from before even I was watching a lot of Batman stuff. So that's the old live action cartoon. I wasn't particularly around for that, but it that version of the Batmobile is probably the nicest looking one. It really is. And there's other Batmobiles, and most of them are pretty cool looking, but that one's the best. You can't argue. Okay, well maybe you can argue, but in my opinion, it's the best. And then moving along. So in Batman the Animated Series, if you've ever watched it, one of my favorite scenes from the series, aside from like when they introduced the Joker and a couple other things here and there, was when Batman. Well, he doesn't really defeat the Joker. It's more like Robin defeats the Joker. Joker had turned Robin into a mini Joker, and then, well, anyone who's ever watched it knows how that ends. Not very pretty, but that's how it ended. But that leads us to the return of the Joker which was a pretty fun movie. I watched that a while back with my dad, and I think we both liked it. I know I liked it. It was set in the Batman Beyond universe, which is a sequel to animated series anyway. And that was an interesting take on the Joker. It wasn't Joker, but it was Joker. It was basically Robin had become Joker again. So, it was. That's why it's called Return of the Joker. Now, if you ever watch Batman Beyond, it did have some similarities with the Spider-Man cartoon that was on at the time. Some of the villains were similar with some of their powers, but you also had a lot of villains that were just like what you would expect Batman villains to be like. You had two girls that were kind of like Harley Quinn. You had a whole gang called the Jokers. And that was kind of neat. Now, if you've never seen Return of the Joker, it is fun to watch. It's really good. Now, it's a good Batman animated cartoon movie. Yeah, animated film, you would call that. Now, I haven't seen the newer Batman and the Ninja Turtles movie, or Batman Ninja, or any of the really new stuff. So when I get a chance to check those out, I'll have to do a video on them. But in terms of like the other movies, if we're going back to live action stuff, I like some of the costumes they used in most of the Batman movies. They did have some good costumes in some of them. Barring a couple of exceptions. I know why some people don't really like the costume from, what was it, the 19-something movies, because, well, I think everybody knows why, but I liked the way that some of the villains, such as like Two-Face and Mr. Freeze and Joker and stuff, were represented in older Batman live-action movies. But I've always felt like they've always been portrayed better in the cartoons. And I really feel like that's where most of his major villains get the shine. Especially the Joker. I mean, when he was voiced by Mark Hamill, it was perfect. No one can do that voice any better than that. There's been other voice actors for Joker, but wow, this video is turning into a video about the Joker instead of Batman. Oh man, I'm talking too much about the Joker right now. Okay, so that's most of my thoughts on the Joker. So I got to move on to the other situations. So in Batman, what was it? Arkham. I don't know. Arkham City had an interesting setup with Hugo Strange, who apparently from the very beginning knew who Batman really was. And that led up to a boss fight with, not so much with Hugo, because Hugo's not really a fighting type character, but if you've ever played that, basically the final boss is Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul, the essentially immortal guy, uses the Lazarus Pit to keep, from dying. So he's but then you had the boss battle with Solomon Grundy, which I have to say, in Arkham City, when you fight Solomon Grundy, Batman's not supposed to kill people, and I get that Solomon Grundy is technically immortal, but you literally rip out like his internal organs during that fight. So I mean, I guess being Solomon Grundy, he's not actually going to die because he really can't. But it looks like Batman kills him, even though again it's Solomon Grundy, he can't actually die, and Batman knows that. But it's one of the more brutal defeats of a boss battle in a Batman game. But I did like the game. The game had a lot of everything about the game. Not everything, but a lot of it I did like. Just those Riddler trophies were a pain. I did not like collecting the Riddler trophies. There so many of those, so not worth getting them all, in my personal opinion. And yeah, I don't know. I got to get around to watching some of the newer Batman cartoons and Batman cartoon movies, but I do recommend watching the animated series, Batman Brave and the Bold, Batman Return to Joker, if you haven't seen any of those. And those are some of my favorite things from Batman cartoons and Batman movies. So, we'll see what the next Batman movie's like when that happens, whenever we get one. And I don't know if I'm going to watch the new Joker movie. I don't know what to think of it yet. I've seen trailers for it, and I just don't know. It's interesting, kind of, but it's not Batman. It's, as far as I know, Batman's not even in that movie. So I don't know what to say about that one. I mean, I guess it could be good. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Batman games, movies, cartoons, and whatnot. And yeah, if I get around to watching any newer stuff from Batman, I'll do a video on them. It could be a while. So yeah, have a good day, and why so serious?